I think so, yeah.
My friend Otto. Yeah.
That's right, yeah. I just moved my stuff, I'm pretty sure.
Is this fine? That
Yeah.
AC?
Yeah.
Let me know when I'm good, yeah. Alright, cool. So how's tour been so far? I just want to ask you.
Tour's been great. We have been playing on average about 5 shows a week, so this is actually like, I don't know, something like the 18th or 19th show in 21 days or so.
Wow.
So it's been good. Kind of a bit exhausting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you guys' third album just came out. I'm a huge fan of it, obviously.
Thank you.
It touched on a lot of different things, like throughout the album, like self-identity and like immigration and like all the different stuff, which is really interesting to me. And it made me think of Nina Simone's documentary I just watched of her.
Oh, yeah, I saw that.
She said like how it's so important for like artists to reflect on like the times they live in. And I thought you guys did that really well, honestly, throughout your music. So I wanted to ask you, like, how has it been moving here, like, from a different country, and like how has your view of America and like yourself changed, like living as an American?
2 of our members are not citizens. Jacob is from England and Francois is from Canada. French Canadians from Montreal. I was born in New Jersey.
Yeah, I was gonna ask all of you guys, but I didn't know who was gonna be here, so I kind of like a broad question.
Yeah, no worries. Yeah, so it's and then Samir was born in Michigan, and Pine was born in Los Angeles. But Samir has parents who were both born in India, and Pine's parents were born in Iran. So, you know, for me, my father's Italian, and my mother's Jewish. So, for me, I think it's, you know, seeing the kind of collision of, you know, cultures of my ancestors, you know, meeting the culture that is American culture, and you know, I am American, and as are a lot of the other guys. But I think the album really touches on this idea of, you know, the juxtaposition between where you're from and how that fits into American culture, because American culture in itself is that mix, you know, of it's pretty much this melting pot of, you know, so many different immigrants and types of people.
So America was the first single you guys released, and something that was when Samir said, "I've been looking for so long, but you cut me out." That's like one of my favorite lines from the song, I think, and it really resonated with me because I'm being black, you know, and everything that's happened like in the country recently. It's like really hard to kind of like deal with that, like, where do I fit in America, you know? How has it been for you, like, especially with touring and like kind of meeting these different people? How have you been affected by it, I guess, like, I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, I mean, you know, it's interesting because we live in Los Angeles, which is more liberal than a lot of different places across the country, so we really get to see a wide spectrum of the country and, you know, what's going on and the politics of the state. And, you know, when we wrote the record, we didn't realize it would resonate so much with what's going on right now, and the how polar it is, and how much people with, you know, I think people, like, having a black president, for instance, for the last, you know, 8 years. I think, obviously, now with, you know, Donald Trump being in the race, it's like brought up all these horrible racist ideas, and a lot of people that are rooting for him, and like the fire that is like this insane person. And for, I guess, you know, for us, when we were writing this record, it was coming from a personal place. It was coming from a place of kind of, you know, okay, let's tell our story. You know, who are we, and what is America to us in all its beauty, but also in all its horrificness. And I think that, I don't even know if this answers the question, Gaiser, but I think that for us, it's really crazy to see how, you know, we didn't intend it to be a political record, but I think that it's interesting how, as time's gone on and this election, you know, and all these things, horrific things keep happening, how I guess this record is connecting with people in that way.
Yeah, another song I want to talk about is one of my favorite songs, Mr. Know-It-All from the new album. Social media has like impacted our like age group, like even you guys too, like a lot of like how we interact and how like people date and like all these different things, you know. And it's so crazy because it didn't exist at one point. And also at the same time, it's kind of dangerous. So some people kind of use it as like a mask, you know, kind of like be someone to not, and like kind of be like, you know, whatever. And I feel like pop culture has a huge like role in that too, obviously. I was really wanted to ask you like how your personal relationships outside of the band kind of influence your guys' sound and like just as friends too.
Well, I think that it's just such a common thing now to see a table of friends, you know, at dinner, all looking at their phones. People on dates, people that are married, people, you know, not even only our generation is taking over everybody. These cell phones have, and I'm culprit of it as well. You know, just like a married couple in their like 50s, like sitting there on their phones, and it's sad, you know, and you know, I'm completely addicted as well, and you know, with social media, there's such an obsession, I think, around the world, but especially in the United States, with like this idea of celebrity, and it's really unhealthy, and it's really just people taking pictures of themselves and to people, and also, you know, I think it's for certain things, you know, like Instagram, for instance, is really cool. You know, you can be really artistic with it. It's photography. It's like, you know, it's an art form, but to take a picture of yourself and post a picture of yourself like every single day or multiple times a day, or Snapchat, for instance, or whatever they call Snap now, you know, it's like, it's insane. And for me personally, I find it really interesting, and to see how it affects me and my family and my friends. And you know, I'm always cracking jokes about, like, you know, I'll be the one taking a picture of everyone on their cell phone, but at the same time I'm on my cell phone, you know, and it's like, so that song in particular, Mr. Know-It-All, we thought kind of worked well thematically with the record, just because, you know, Home of the Strange being our take on America and American culture, and this being such a big part of today, being such a big part of the youth, and just the idea of also thinking you know everything. Like you have everything in the palm of your fingers, and it's like the palm of your hands. It's like you know, there's no. Sorry, this is a long answer, but or if it doesn't make sense, I feel like there's no. Like, people are so afraid of like boredom. People are so afraid of awkward silence and any emotion that's not happiness. And it's like, and it's really like dehumanizing and makes me sad.
Yeah, I definitely agree. It's my friends, I talk about all the time, like how people are just so like unaware of so many things that are going on. It's like they're just so like uncomfortable by it, they just don't want to like talk about it or think about it. But I think it's important too, because like things happen and like people are different, like whatever it is you're talking about, but it's important to have those conversations.
Right.
Get open about
They're afraid to argue or debate or talk, even have a discussion over anything, because they're afraid of offending people.
Yeah, it's like a debate and like an argument or two different things. You know, like have a civilized debate and not like be mad at each other at the end of it. But some people can't. So I wanted to talk about something I admire about you guys a lot. Is like all three of your albums are so different, but like Young and Giant's essence is still there. You know, has it always been easy for you guys to kind of like push your sound and out of your comfort zone when you're writing music, or is it kind of like difficult?
I think that, you know, the first record is kind of, you know, you're not under the watch, you're not under the spotlight. You know, we had all this time to write these songs. We got signed, and you know, we there was some pressure there. Obviously, we had to finish this record and put it out under a record label. But for us, it was more natural thing. You know, it was a lot of songs we had written since we were 17, 18 years old. And the second record was really the tough one for us, because we had just come off like 3 years of touring off of a record that did fairly successful and pretty much launched our careers. So, you know, with success, I think there's sometimes some paralysis that comes next, you know, in terms of writing or creating in general. And, you know, when you come off of a successful record, for us, the first record being, to this day, the most successful record we made, into the second album, there's a sophomore slump or whatever they call it, but we really felt it for a minute, and we wrote the album about it. It's called Mind Over Matter, and there's a lot of themes of paralysis, and it was a very black and white record, from the album art to not the music per se, but like we felt like we were like in that realm. And for this third album, it was the complete opposite. It was almost like complete liberation from the feeling of what people wanted, what people expected from us. And I feel like it's a very colorful record, and it's a very it was a very natural record to write for us, and I think we found out kind of how we write together in the best way possible. And found out everyone's strengths and weaknesses, and got together and really tackled it the record as a team effort. And it just felt good. We were just like, what do we want to write about? What how do we want it to sound? And it was actually our new producer who produced this third record, Alex Salibian, helped kind of take our vision and really elevate it sonically and help us as well.
Yeah, I didn't even think about that. How you said the second album was more like black and white, kind of like darker, but it definitely is about like that. But like from the first album, it's also like cheery and like kind of like summery type, and the next one's kind of like it goes deeper. And I really like that a lot. And I remember when the first album like it did like really well. I was like you said, a lot of people were saying like, oh, I hope like the second album sounds the same. And it's kind of like the same path they take. But I'm really glad you guys kind of went like a different way, because like I thought that makes it more exciting for the listener too, to like when the band like kind of takes a left and they can take a right,
Yeah.
And a few more questions I have, just in general. I always ask, what is like advice you give to inspire a musician that wants to do it for a career?
Well, one thing I think that some people go riffing off kind of like social media or just this idea of image, of one's ego or oneself. I think that the advice I'd give, one piece of advice I'd give is like, really don't get wrapped up in that image. It's at the end of the day, it's about the song. It's about the music, and it's about having a good time. Writing music, finding people to create music. If you're by yourself or if with your friends, it's about having fun with it and trying to think outside of the box. I feel like a lot of people, it takes a while to find that style. You know what I mean? But I think there's something to it when you find something that might be a take on someone else's style, or might be a take on your influences, but it's slightly something's off about it, and that's your own kind of thing. So I would say, trust in the process, the creative process. Give it time. Creatively give it time for your music to grow and evolve, and really at the end of the day, it's about the music, it's about the songs, and don't focus on the outer stuff at the beginning. Don't focus on the business, don't focus on how you're dressing, the money, any of this stuff. Just there's something, I think that there's a reason why everyone picks up an instrument or starts singing, in the shower. And I think that the beauty in it is finding the weirdness within yourself. The thing that makes you you. Because each person is so different.
Yeah, it's really cool. I always think about too, like whenever I meet bands, like I'm always like nervous how they'll be if I've never met them before. So like some bands are kind of like really decorated and kind of like don't talk to me, So it's always definitely, I think, important, like you said, to kind of stay like grounded and stay focused. Like you guys, when I first met you, like I was talking to one of my friends like that I know now, like it wasn't weird or anything. Like I really appreciate that also. And another question I had was, there's a lot of albums that you have come out. I wanted to know some of your favorites or any artists or something like that.
Yeah, well, some artists that I think, well, they're not like big artists. They're friends of mine. 2 records in particular that some friends have made that I think people should check out. They're only on SoundCloud, I believe. There's a good friend of mine who makes music under the name Shape King, and his record's called Otto versus the Universe. I think it's a really inspiring record. Some really amazing sounds, some really amazing time signatures.
What kind of music is it? Like, would you describe?
I would say, I mean, maybe I'd compare it to like Animal Collective.
Okay, cool.
Kind of.
Yeah, kind of like
Montreal.
spacey.
Yeah, it's really, but also has some really like funky moments. And then another friend who makes music under the name Twig, which is maybe a little bit more minimal, but both kind of electronic, weird electronic records. And then I heard the new Bon Iver record today for the first time, and that's someone I think who really, from the first, second, and third record, has kind of taken left turns and right turns, and it's really electronic and some really amazing sounds on there. And I think his voice is great. So, let's see. The Chance the Rapper record's really great.
It's funny you said that. We were in the car. I was like on my phone and like I hit a button on accident and started playing All We Got like on just by itself.
Yeah.
I was like, wow, that's like Chance's new album, but he's doing it right now. It's like helping me out, you know?
Yeah,
It's pretty funny. What else do you?
Yeah, I feel. Oh, the new Radiohead record I think is great. It grew on me. I didn't really dive in too far at first, and then really grew on me. Yeah, there's a guy named Chris Cohen from LA who put out a really great record. I've been listening to Andy Schaaf. He's from Canada, I believe.
Okay, cool.
I don't know when his record came out, but the record I believe is called The Party.
That's awesome. Final question. You guys finished your album, so the next one, if you could get in the studio with one person, any genre, who would you want to work with on a song?
Well, I think we found our producer. Like, we've really found our guy. That
Someone just like crazy, like off the wall.
No, I know,
never
but I'm
expect.
thinking of like someone who, like, I honestly, someone who really inspires me is Blake Mills. Yukimi from Little Dragon, I think, has an amazing voice. I think it'd be really cool to do something like a collaboration where like Samir and Yukimi for Young Giant or something, like, or Little Giant, like whatever it would be. Like, I just feel like their voices would be really cool.
Definitely, that would be awesome.
In some sort of like some sort of song or something. Who? I mean, David Byrne would be like a hero to work with, or like Brian Eno and something like that. Yeah.
That's all I have. Thanks for talking to me again. I really appreciate it. I'm excited to see you guys tonight.
Yeah, good to see you, man.
Definitely.